Hi there, very good evening to you and welcome to NTV Tonight with me, Smriti, Vidyarthi. These are the top stories. Tonight, environmental watchdog and Nairobi County now swimming in dirty water.
It is the responsibility of NEMA to tell us why they chose to exclude us.
They are discharging raw sewage into our rivers.
Blame game starts as pollution persists. Plus,
Humphrey Karuki.
court frees Africa Spirits Limited director. Police pounce on him soon after. And MPs raise alarm over missing containers of suspicious cooking oil.
Hakuna container hata moja.
Trade CS skips committee's summons in Mombasa. Also tonight, Kikuyu Benga star John DeMatthew dies in a road crash.
Nikafikiria, sinipige simu. Kupiga simu nikasikia iko mteja.
NTV Tonight with Smriti, Vidyarthi.
We begin tonight with our special report, and over the last few weeks, NTV has been on a grim trail of the Nairobi River from source, trailing its noxious flow and that of its offshoots downstream to the Indian Ocean, revealing the blight that has crept up on the river's waters and the corridor of disease it's left behind wherever it flows. NTV's Charity Mwangi is the one that investigated the harmful and even life-threatening effects of this toxic flow. And she joins me right now in studio. Charity, good to have you with us. That was a truly incredible piece. There has been a torrent of reactions to these investigations.
That's right, Smriti. A lot of people who watched this piece reacted with shock as to just how exposed the population is to harm. This also coming so soon after our journalists exposed the use of unacceptable levels of chemicals in meat. The Nairobi River is polluted is really nothing new, and what's also not new is how the agencies that are meant to clean it up went on a reactionary campaign. That's part of what I found out today. When I went out, the National Environment Management Authority made a visit to the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company in an attempt to arrest the acting managing director, Nahashon Muguna, for failing to manage the discharge of effluent into the river. But he had been tipped off and he escaped the dragnet. This even as environmental agencies traded blame on who is responsible for the mess. Here's the report I compiled.
That the Nairobi River is a full-throttle environmental disaster is a known fact, but what's emerging are the half efforts to clean it up by government agencies that seem to be pulling in different directions. NEMA's mission to arrest the managing director of the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, Nahashon Muguna, this morning did not go as planned.
We've sent out the summon. We are going to arrest him and charge him for these issues. Because the main challenge is basically the sewer system is dysfunctional, it's not working, and they are discharging raw sewage into our rivers.
What followed was a news conference that exposed the wide fissures within the multi-agency team meant to be working together. Present at the briefing were representatives from the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Water, the National Police, the National Environment Management Authority, and the Water Resources Authority. The absence of the representatives from the Nairobi County was glaring.
If the convener was NEMA, then it is the responsibility of NEMA to tell us why they chose to exclude us. It can be a very unfortunate circumstance.
Then what followed was the blame game between the agencies.
The main suspects, we have them, and I'll mention them now. One of them, Nairobi Water Company. They are the main polluters. EPZ is one of them, right? And Nairobi County.
NEMA has a responsibility to enforce that part of the act, to ensure that anyone who generates waste, either solid waste, effluent, industrial waste, ensure that that waste is managed well.
We will arrest the big fish. The CEO of Nairobi Water, do your part. If you don't, you'll do it in committee.
Then came the defense from the one government entity that seemed isolated and well positioned to play a role of the scapegoat.
You would find instances where sewer lines get blocked, but we have a very rapid response team, and whenever we have reports of burst sewers, we have a response time of less than 2 hours.
And finally, the announcement of the gains made in an effort to show it was not a response but a continuous plan of action.
We have made 30 arrests, 48 facilities closed, 37 facilities were served with restoration orders to correct.
It seems that the battle lines have been drawn with every government agency trying to stamp the authority in an effort to provide a solution to a problem that has been ongoing for years. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Well, joining me now here live in studio is the Acting Director General of NEMA, that is the National Environment Management Authority, and his name is Mamo B. Mamo, thanks very much for joining us on NTV tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You must have seen our investigations on the pollution in Nairobi River, which revealed dangerous levels of pollution in that river that flows across the country. Do you believe that you have failed in your mandate?
Thank you, Smriti. I think we've not failed. As authority, our work is to supervise and coordinate all environmental issues in this country. And for the last 3 months, we've had 100 days of rapid result initiative, basically to look at the issues of effluent discharge. And if you look at this issue of effluent, I think the main problem of this river pollution is discharge coming from the sewer lines. It's quite dysfunctional. It does not even work. Most of this raw sewage is directly discharged into our rivers, and that is really pathetic.
And whose responsibility is it to ensure that the sewer lines do work?
Ours is to ensure we enforce the provisions of Environmental Management and Coordination Act, and that is what we've been doing. As you've seen, the chairman has clearly said that for the last 3 months under our Rapid Result Initiative, we've arrested 30 culprits, and we've closed down 48 facilities discharging effluents into our rivers. And the program is still continuing.
But we know that this problem has existed for years. It didn't just start 3 months ago. You have made arrests, you have shut down companies. Today, NEMA went for the MD of the Nairobi Water Sewerage Company, but it seems like your moves are all very reactionary.
Not really. I think we've been doing this engagement for a very long time. Under the Nairobi Regenerational Program, we were given the task to do a mapping of the discharge areas. And I think we've mapped out 122 discharge points. And I think as a team, the enforcement team is really working day and night. Even at night, some of our officers are always at the site to ensure that we do not get discharge into these places. But what normally happens after officers leave these places, that is the time most of this discharge takes place.
But isn't this a little too late? Because my point is that this pollution has been in the river for over 3 months, years, in fact.
You know, this is not a NEMA duty alone. We work under the umbrella of the multi-agency entities. So these are the entities that work together to ensure that the river is kept clean.
And are you working together in harmony with the entities?
Absolutely.
So if you are working
today
together...
we had a very nice meeting with them.
But if you are working together, wherein lies the problem, if it's not solely NEMA's responsibility?
You know, Smriti, as you said, this is more than 30 years or even 40 years problem. And you know, a problem that has been there for all these years, you can't really do something in 3 months or even 4 months. It's a gradual process, but I am sure with the time, with the concerted effort from all these partners, we will ensure that Nairobi River is going to be clean.
What action are you going to take on the industries that fail to comply?
I think normally we have 3 levels. First, we normally do what we call compliance assistance. We help industries to comply. Then if we fail in that stage, we ensure that we undertake restoration. We issue restoration orders. If that fails, then we close down the facility. So we normally take them through these stages.
On NEMA's part, where are the real challenges? Because a lot of fingers have been pointed at government agencies, at organizations such as NEMA, and a lot of people are putting this down to sheer corruption. Do you agree?
I do not agree. You know, as a regulatory agency, we enforce our law, the Environmental Management and Coordination Act. And as a regulatory agency, when you go out there and enforce on these facilities, most of them, if you close down a facility, you know, there are a lot of losses, there are a lot of issues. And people will say, wow, what is NEMA doing? They've closed down my facilities. It's million, you know, farm. So such things can occur. But for us, I think we are very ethical, very professional staff out there in the field and at the headquarters also.
So where are the main challenges in your view?
I think the main challenge, if I can say, is our attitude, the citizen of this country. We have very poor attitudes towards our environment. If you look at the issue of environment, people don't take responsibility. Because this is a constitutional provision. If you look at Article 42 of our Constitution, it gives us right to live in a clean, secure, and healthy environment. But this right comes with responsibility. It is the duty of all citizens to ensure that we live in a clean and healthy and secure environment. So it's not the responsibility of only NEMA, it's the responsibility of me and you and the citizen to enhance the quality of our environment.
What's the way forward?
I think the way forward is a concerted effort from all agencies and the citizen, because most of our citizens have this throwaway attitude, throwaway culture. You basically throw away all the waste. We are the waste generator ourselves, but you expect somebody else to pick your waste while you are the waste generator. So the issue is we need to treat this environment as my environment, not your environment, and take responsibility to ensure we enhance the quality of environment.
And is NEMA, do you really believe that NEMA and all the agencies are taking that responsibility? Because surely if you were, we would not see the findings that have come through from this investigative report, which reveals some life-threatening levels of toxic chemicals.
I agree, Smriti. There are a lot of challenges, basically, including staffing levels, including adequate budgetary allocations for NEMA, and all this. But overall, we are up to the task, and I think, given time, we'll be able to work with all the agencies and ensure that we have clean, secure, and healthy environment.
And just briefly as we close, if, as you stated, you do work in harmony with the other responsible agencies, why then is NEMA trying to arrest the MD of the Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company?
You know, we've given them a restoration order so that they'll be able to do what we ask them to do in the restoration orders. And it's not just we've given them like yesterday. We've given them time to work on these things.
But it's only like today that you went for that arrest after last night's expose on NTV.
No, we gave the MD a couple of weeks ago to work on some of the issues that we discussed, or we rather highlighted in the restoration orders.
And he's failed
After
to do
he
so?
failed to do that, then we came for him.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, it is a story that we certainly will be following, but this is a huge problem. Can Kenyans really expect a cleaner Nairobi River, or is this really beyond you?
I want to make it very clear. Working with all the agencies, today we had a meeting at NEMA headquarters with a number of the agencies under the Nairobi Regeneration Program. And I want to assure the citizens of this country, working together with them also, because they also have a specific role to play to ensure they are not the waste generators that we're looking at.
Okay.
With all the partners on board and our organization, I want to assure the public and the citizens of the country that we are up to the task as an authority.
And we will hold you to that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The Acting Director General, Mamo B. Mamo at NEMA, thanks very much for joining us on NTV tonight. Well, Lake Victoria, the second largest freshwater lake in the world, is also under threat from heavy pollution that is choking life from it and threatening the livelihoods of millions of people. NTV's Oko Okusa visited the lake earlier today and explains why the situation is worrying.
Lake Victoria is one of this region's greatest natural resources. The tilapia and Nile perch fish caught here is exported to markets across the world. But pollution from household and industrial waste continue to threaten the life of this water body, which has sustained millions of lives of people for centuries.
Unfortunately, the biggest challenge that we have had is coming from the municipal raw sewage that sometimes is not properly treated.
Also blamed for the contamination are sugar and industrial factories that operate within the city. Recently, the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, shut down 2 plants at the Kibos Sugar and Allied Industries over alleged pollution of the nearby River Kibos. River Kibos discharges its contents into Lake Victoria.
Apart from that, we also have contamination of our area through what we call open defecation. We have the slums, we have the villages around this city. Some of these places we still don't have enough toilets for people to defecate.
Pollution, it is said, encourages the growth of algae, which limits the oxygen supply for other forms of life, hence the disappearance of certain species of fish.
So the only fish that you can find there is mudfish, kamongo and all that live in the depth of the lake, but not tilapia.
The obnoxious water hyacinth weed, which first appeared on Lake Victoria in the early 90s, is said to be one of the products of pollution. Though some argue that the weed is dangerous for the lake, others think it is a blessing in disguise.
It's a water purifier, first. Secondly, it can help the local community in making sofa sets or whatever they can make, ornaments with the water hyacinth.
Scientists now want the governments of Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania to take action before it is too late. Huko Kusa, NTV, Kisumu.
Right away from environment matters now, and reclusive billionaire Humphrey Kariuki, who's until now managed to evade the authorities, was arrested earlier today. He was arrested just soon after the courts released him on an 11 billion shilling cash bail. Well, NTV's Olive Burrows now joins us live from the Muthaiga police station, where the billionaire will be accommodated for the night. Olive.
That's right, Smriti. No sooner had the billionaire taken in the sweet taste of freedom than he walked face first into the long arm of the law. He was arrested, taken to the Parklands police station, then the DCI headquarters for processing before being brought here where we are to the Muthaiga police station, where he'll spend the night before once again finding himself in the dock. Now, when in court, it emerged that he skipped a crucial stage, and that is the stage of processing by the DCI. But he insisted that he's not interested in playing cat and mouse games with the authorities. And therefore, he was instructed within 6 hours of his release to present himself before the DCI for processing. Here's what transpired in court.
The enigma that is billionaire businessman Humphrey Kariuki has been the subject of many newspaper articles in recent months. This morning, the man who authorities claimed they turned over mattresses to find came out of quote-unquote hiding to make an appearance in court, insisting he'd been available all the while for the authorities to find.
Where does Interpol come into this when a man has flown so many miles to come to submit himself to this court? How does Interpol come in? Do we just drop names? He was available. He was in the country. And I even wrote to them, told them, I'm reading stories in the newspapers that I'm not in the country. You've not even come to my workplace. I am in the country.
I don't know why my learned friend is up in arms. He is saying his client was out of the country. All we want is when the decision was made, he was not here. So those are the issues we want to clarify, so that it gives us a holistic view of whether we will concede to the decision to be released on bail or not.
A man under siege was the impression his defense counsel sought to give of Kariuki, who has been the subject of investigation since late January, early February, when a raid on Africa Spirits Limited, a business in which he's involved, yielded counterfeit excise stamps, which the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions says evidenced an elaborate tax evasion and money laundering scheme. This court date has been a long time coming, ever since the authorities conducted a raid on a business associated with the billionaire businessman. He denies the charges, saying this is an orchestrated witch hunt. But the authorities say he owes 41 billion shillings in back taxes from 2014, he together with his co-accused.
The first accused is not even a director of Africa Spirits Limited. It's not even a direct investor in Africa Spirits Limited. Facts they know, facts kept in public record. He is an investor in Africa Spirits through a corporate body, not even through his personal makeup, with absolutely no responsibilities regarding tax issues.
While it would have been premature for the court to declare itself on the extent of Kariuki's culpability, Chief Magistrate Francis Wandai was convinced that the state failed to make a case for his detention.
Now, when someone has been applied for summons and then he presents himself to court, and then you curtail his freedom after that, it is totally unfair, and I do not countenance.
He may have won the battle, but Kariuki is far from out of the woods, with authorities investigating him for money laundering.
It's instructive to take note of what the authorities have to tell us on his arrest. They say it's linked to the 80 drums of ethanol that were recovered from Africa Spirits Limited in early February, and not the tax evasion charges he answered to this morning. Back to you, Smriti.
All right, Olive, thanks very much indeed. NTV's Olive Burrows coming to us live from the Muthaiga police station, where billionaire Humphrey Kariuki will be spending the night. Elsewhere, an 18-member mediation team formed to resolve the impasse pitting the National Assembly and the Senate over the Division of Revenue bill will start meeting tomorrow. This time, they hope to unlock the stalemate that has seen some counties scrape by and their workers stage boycotts over unpaid salaries. NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Morethi with the details.
For the second time in 2 months, Parliament will be hoping to untangle itself from the struggle over resources that has taken it back to the drawing board. The mediation committee now has 9 members from each of the houses of Parliament and will sit starting Tuesday. Their key task will be to find common ground on the division of revenue bill that failed to get a nod from both houses. The situation was compounded by the fact that the 2 houses prepared and passed different versions of the bill. From the National Assembly, the committee will have Majority Leader Aden Duale, Minority Leader John Mbadi, Minority Whip Junet Mohammed, Deputy Majority Whip Cecily Mbarire, Budget and Appropriations Committee Chairperson Kimani Ichung'wah, Kipipiri MP Amos Kimunya, Kitui Central MP Makali Mulu, Likoni MP Mishimboko and Tharaka MP Yetonga Murugara as members. The Senate has nominated Chairperson of the Finance Committee Mohamed Mahamood, Uasin Gishu Senator Margaret Kamar, Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, Meru Senator Metheka Lenture, Kirinyaga Senator Charles Kefiro, Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Narok Senator Ledama Olekina, Homa Bay Senator Moses Kajwang, and nominated Senator Judith Pareno. The Senate is sticking to 335 billion shillings as per the bill they passed, while the National Assembly is stuck at 316 billion shillings.
We were 314. We convinced the president as our party leader to 316.5. That is the position of the National Assembly, and it's cast in stone.
But as the mediation kicks off, there are concerns that it may just be a formality, as President Uhuru Kenyatta has twice said there was no more money for counties other than what is in the budget policy statement.
Sometimes we tend to operate as if money is in a tiririka. No? Money is limited, resources are limited.
The Senate is not telling us where do we get 19 billion. Already, we have reached the limit of 6 trillion of borrowing.
Senators may have no other option other than to accept what is on offer or hold their ground and have counties suffer longer without cash, as the Attorney General has already advised against withdrawing from the consolidated fund without any parliamentary approval. Kennedy Morethi, NTV in Nairobi County.
Dowry negotiations are often a happy time for families involved, but in Nyeri, these negotiations turned dark as 4 people have died from food poisoning, while 67 others have been hospitalized. The groom-to-be is among those admitted in hospital over what was earlier suspected to be cholera, but the tests turned negative. The dowry negotiations took place on Thursday at Kieni West area, where the food was eaten sometime around 5 p.m. 250 people attended that ceremony. But on Saturday, a number of attendees began to complain of stomach aches, diarrhea and also vomiting. 4 people later succumbed to that food poisoning. Investigations have yet to be launched into that dreadful incident. It's 20 past the hour. Time for our first short break here on NTV Tonight, but still to come. A prison warder in Kisumu temporarily held captive inside an elevator. We'll tell you how he broke free after the break.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
Welcome to Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now for our September 2019 intakes in the following: diploma and certificate courses, electrical engineering, building and construction technology, business administration, mechanical engineering, informational communication technology, communication, automotive engineering, library information sciences, human resource development, food and beverages, business studies, general agriculture and supplies management. Kisiwa Technical Training Institute, knowledge and skills for better life.
Hatimaye kuna kitu cha kuwaburudisha kina dada. Hii ni ya wale wanajitambua, yani wale wanajiamini.
Yani someone took their sweet time and thought about us.
Hawa wananielewa.
Washi, madam, machi, magaldem, na
We're here to get our single ladies the Mr. Right. They are
yes.
Mr. Right.
Yes.
Kama kawaida, and you can only catch us on
Rambo TV. Rambo TV. Simply beautiful.
Ingieni, pole, imejaa.
Nini? Tunakujua kwa nini wazee wetu wanapotelea kwako.
Ndio tulikuwa tunataka kujua siri yako.
Siri ndio hiyo. Introducing the new salad oil with a spout for easy use. Comes packed with omega-6 and 9 and vitamin A and D, and at a price that doesn't dent your wallet.
Leo utakula nyumbani.
Salad. Siri ndio hiyo.
Parenting is all about learning when to be tough and when to be gentle. Tough, gentle. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Tough call. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection. And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh bread. Only 15 shillings.
Oh, wewe ndio uliosha hii gari?
Yes, umeona venye iling'ara.
Kazi yako ni nini hapa kwa hii estate?
Security.
Exactly. Ustick kwa line yako.
I want chicken.
We're having rice today.
Let me call my dad and tell him to bring me chicken.
Aloy, zima hiyo kitu. Trying to put my child to sleep.
Sikuski.
Dad, you buy me a hoverboard.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Cal.
I know my real dad can buy for me one.
Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now. Knowledge and skills for better life.
Thanks for staying with us. He earned himself the title of the Agikuyu Prophet and Seer, perhaps for his mastery of the Kikuyu proverbs and sayings. But popular Kikuyu pop and benga maestro John Mwangi Nganga, alias John DeMatthew, was somewhat a divisive figure as his music was sometimes controversial. But still, there was an outpouring of grief and kind words following his death in a road accident last evening. NTV's Gladys Gashanja has more.
Kikuyu benga artist John Mwangi, fondly known as John DeMatthew's tunes, struck the right chords with his multitude of fans who have followed his illustrious career that spanned 33 years. That career was cut short Sunday night when the car he was driving rammed into the back of a lorry near Blue Post Thika. His wife Seraphine Wairimo telling of the last moments of a night that robbed her of her husband and companion for years.
Mimi jana alinipigia simu saa 3:40. Tena akapiga saa 3:41. Lakini sikusikia simu. Baadaye nikafikiria sinipige simu. Kupiga simu nikasikia iko mteja. Lakini after few minutes nikasikia dhamiri yangu inaniambia there must be something which is happening.
Sasa mimi kufika hapo aligonga gari. Mimi nilifungua mlango juu alikuwa anaongea. Sasa sisi kumtoa kwa gari, kumweka kwa matatu. Tulimpeleka na matatu ya 2NK mpaka huko Thika. Nothing.
DeMatthew sustained head, legs and chest injuries and was pronounced dead on arrival at the Thika nursing home.
Tulikuwa ya kigia hapa Metro Field Thika na 1 hour ago. Hata mimi ndio niliongea naye wa mwisho wakati alipokuwa akileta pesa yake ya harambe ya kigia ambaye mtoto wake amechomeka na kwa hospitali. Hiyo bill ndio tulikuwa tunatolea pesa.
DeMatthew, who hailed from Gatanga in Murang'a County, is popularly known for his greatest hits, Maidianduko. In another of his most work, Njata Yakwa, he featured Murang'a County woman representative Sabina Shege, who was an actress before she launched into politics. In a Facebook post, the Murang'a woman rep mourned him, speaking fondly of his growth as a person and an artist. There was also an outpouring of tributes from his fans and leaders, such as Deputy President William Ruto.
Ni siku ambayo ni siku ya huzuni, manake hata ukiangalia hali ya anga pahali tuliko, hali ya anga kumenyamaza kabisa. Ishara tosha kwamba tumeachwa na jamaa ambaye alikuwa na wito mkubwa katika jamii ya Wakikuyu.
But a man who used his music to warn, entertain and inform society on a wide range of issues, he sometimes had brushes with the law. In 2012, he was accused alongside Muigai wa Njoroge and Kamande wa Kioi of fueling hate speech during election campaigns. The charges were, however, dropped for lack of sufficient evidence. Until his demise, he was the chairperson of the newly launched Tamko Sacco that aims to uplift the welfare of musicians.
Nobody will ever replace Kamaro. Nobody will ever replace John DeMatthew. So I don't think it will be the same again. We shall miss them.
DeMatthew is survived by 2 wives and 3 children. Gladys Gashanja, NTV.
How tragic. May his soul rest in peace. All right, to a story that we highlighted before the break now, and a prison warder was today held somewhat captive inside an elevator at the Kisumu Law Courts for 4 hours following a power outage. The warder had escorted remandees from the Kodiaga prison to the court, but was trapped inside the lift located on the building's second floor.
What began like an ordinary working day for one Sergeant Tom Ongoro of Kenya prisons turned into a day he will live to remember for a long time. Ongoro's who's struck as he was making arrangements to secure release orders for some 2 foreigners who had been acquitted by the courts.
Immediately niliingia kwa lift kitu 1.5 hours ago. Stima ikaenda na nikapiga simu kwa wenzangu wale wako kwa ofisi kule chini.
It is his colleagues with the help of some court orderlies who managed to forcefully create a gap between the elevator's doors to allow in some fresh air into the cab.
Niliambiwa nisukume plastic ingine iko hapa juu. Finally hiyo plastic ni ya light, si ya breather. But from this small space I can get some oxygen. I'm just okay.
And after spirited efforts to release the prison warder from his small cell failed to bear fruit, firefighters from the Kisumu County were called in. The firemen took less than a minute to free the jailer turned prisoner. And that's how Sergeant Ongoro's 2-hour imprisonment without the option of a fine ended. With a smile. Okokusa, NTV, Kisumu.
My goodness, if there's anything that I'm terrified about, it is getting stuck in a lift. But clearly he was calm enough to even give an interview and came out smiling and laughing. Good on him. All right, we are taking a short break now on NTV Tonight. When we come back, Julian Zamboko will have the business news lined up for you. But for now, we leave you with a short tribute to De Matthew, and it is by an artist called Sammy Doe. Listen in.
Maedi aduko, maedi aduko, maedi adoire gomisaga, wegai, wadunyire duko eti ohoro, wegai, wadunyire duko eti ohoro.
Why are you filming, Mummy?
To help people stop getting sick. People think the weather makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including the cold and flu virus.
Making my family some nutritious porridge is a painstaking process. First, I have to find all the ingredients needed, and there are many. For vitamins, proteins, and minerals, I need cassava, sorghum, millet. You no longer need to go through all that to make nutritious porridge. All you need is NutriPro.
You don't have to go through the trouble of finding, measuring, and weighing all these vital ingredients. New NutriPro porridge flour comes fortified with 13 vitamins, proteins, and minerals. This means that you have more time to focus on what's important, giving your family the healthy start they deserve. NutriPro, bringing families together. From Tropical Brand.
For nearly 5 decades now, Daystar has been stirring passions, supporting and shaping career aspirations as it develops servant leaders for Africa and beyond.
I have been a teacher for over 5 years. I am passionate about teaching and impacting the lives of children. Daystar University is offering part-time education programs. This is flexible for me as I scale my profession as an educationist.
Book your intake now and be the next. Call us or visit www.daystar.ac.ke for more information.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there. Selena, it's great seeing you getting so much value for your money.
Well, it's important to save as much as you can.
You save everywhere. Except for here. This is where you're throwing money down the drain.
How?
On these cleaning products.
Impossible.
Harpic 10X. While other cleaners flow away, Harpic 10X's viscous formula in only one round of application gives you sparkling, clean toilet. Harpic, 10 times better cleaning than other cleaning products.
And great savings too.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FMKE. Nation FM.
Bado tukiwa bachelor.
Sasa tunawachana, nataka tuwe tunafanya kitu tukiwa wawili.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
It is time to get down to business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. Now, the National Assembly's Committee on Industry, Trade and Cooperatives has stopped the release of at least 456 containers of edible oil imported into the country in 2018. The committee that inspected the impounded consignment at a freight station in Mombasa also demanded that samples of the oil be retested by relevant government agencies and a report be tabled before it at a later date. Kevin Mutai with the details.
The Committee on Trade and Industry inspected 11 containers carrying the controversial imported edible oil at a container freight station in Mombasa. The lawmakers say they can only account for 58 containers out of the more than 500 containers shipped into the country last year.
We are not comfortable in accepting that the rest of the containers should be released into the market because it is not safe.
In January this year, the Kenya Bureau of Standards released a report detailing the testing of the samples of the shipment and declared them unfit for human consumption after discovering that the oil lacked crucial components such as vitamin A. But in what the committee is calling an about turn, KEBS is now saying that the element has no effect on the consumer and therefore it should be used as a raw material.
Itakuwaje mafuta ambayo ilisemekana haijafikisha kiwango cha kutumika na mwananchi mwaka mmoja uliopita, sasa imepimwa tena na ikaonekana iko sawa?
There are cases of cancer in this country is rising, and we want to eliminate any possibility of a product going into the market that may result into a problem for all Kenyans tomorrow.
Trade Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya was to appear before the committee in Mombasa to answer to questions surrounding a 10 billion shilling waiver on the imported edible oil.
The decision to process was made long time ago. The challenge has been the importers not being able to get contracts from those who process for them to process, and processing simply means fortifying.
The committee now wants fresh samples taken for retesting before tabling a report concerning the circumstances surrounding the importation of the cooking oil. They also want the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to intervene and interrogate the matter, maintaining that if the consignment is released to the market, then it might be repackaged to conceal its original expiry date of May 2020. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
If you're a KQ shareholder, take a listen. The share price of Kenya Airways closed Monday's trade at 2 shillings and 73 cents, its lowest point since listing in 1996. Shareholders of the listed carrier continue to take a beating following the National Assembly's green light for plans to nationalize the airline. The company's share price has fallen by 69% since the start of the year, translating into a 34 billion shilling loss of investor wealth over the last 8 months. And staying with the stock exchange, the current bear run at the Nairobi Securities Exchange that has pushed the NSE 20 share index to a 10-year low has come about due to a combination of factors, chief among them an economy with thinned out disposable incomes. Foreign investors have also been selling more than they have been purchasing. The Central Depository's chief executive, Rose Mambo, gives further insight on why the market is so depressed.
It's also typical around this time of the year to see the market dip because most companies have finished with their dividend payments and they've finished with their announcements of their results. So the interest in the market has sort of waned a bit. So it's a typical flow that we have where at this time of the year you expect the market to be slightly depressed before it begins to pick up again towards the end of the year.
Let's move on to matters value addition. Popo farmers in Vihiga County and its environs have a reason to smile following the launch of a processing plant for the fruit in the region to produce jam. The multi-million shilling factory seeks to give fruit farmers a decent source of income while at the same time marketing their value-added produce internationally. Lillian Carrier with the details.
When most people peel pawpaws, it's usually for direct consumption. Innovation in Vihiga County, however, means that the fruit there will be peeled for different purposes. A fruit processing plant has been launched at Kenya Papaya Products Limited in Sabatia to explore the value addition of up to 25 varieties of the fruit to produce papaya jam, papaya tea and papaya latex.
It's blended with Ganoderma mushroom, which helps someone, especially maybe if you are diabetic. It balances the sugar levels in your body. It boosts your immune system. If you're fatigued, when you use this jam.
The raw material from farmers is sourced from Vihiga, Busia, Migori, and even from neighboring Tanzania. For farmers, there is excitement in the air, given that the burden of finding markets has been taken off their shoulders.
We managed to get markets outside the country. Majorly, we have signed a contract with a company in Europe that is able to purchase and do distribution in Catalonia in Spain, Oxford, the UK, and also Florida in the US. We are working with smallholder farmers, people who can only afford to even do an eighth an acre, and with that they'll be able to do at least a revenue of 22,000 shillings in a month, and that is going to uplift the farmers in Western Kenya, especially Vihiga.
The factory is already selling 6 types of byproducts from the fruit and plans to expand its operations by scaling up the volume of fruit that it processes. Lillian Kiarie, NTV.
Good story there on matters agro-processing. And staying with agriculture, Devolution and ASL Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa says President Uhuru Kenyatta will soon assent to the National Drought Management Authority Amendment Bill, which will make available for spending 2 billion shillings in the National Drought Emergency Fund. Wamalwa says sufficient mitigation measures have been put in place to ensure that there will be no need to import maize before the end of the year. To ensure food security, the government has set aside at least 8 billion shillings to tackle food shortage, disease outbreaks, malnutrition and other drought-related challenges in the second half of the year.
It was resolved by Cabinet that this year we will not be importing maize from Mexico or outside the country. Because if we were to import, actually this maize would be arriving at the same time as the harvest. I just wanted to assure the country that there is sufficient food in the country right from July all the way to December. We also have funding that through the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock will be mobilizing animal feeds as well as interventions where there are disease outbreaks as well as malnutrition. There are very many counties where young children and particularly the elderly are affected. So we have mobilized resources to ensure that we get fortified feeds for the affected, particularly the vulnerable, young and elderly.
And that's it from the business desk, but coming up, former Sudan President al-Bashir in court over corruption charges. Details up next.
John suffers from indigestion. His twin James suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Now you can get your Uber ride with a phone call. Call 0800 722 000 to ride.
NHIF wishes to notify the public that the jobs advertisement making rounds on social media titled National Hospital Insurance Fund NHIF Entry-Level Job Opportunities 2019 has not been placed by NHIF. The advertisement is a hoax and should be ignored. NHIF is currently not hiring and will do proper communication in the event of any available job opportunities in the future. NHIF, Afya Yetu, Bima Yetu.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustler Kenya.
This is to notify the general public that following the enactment of Water Act 2016, Rift Valley Water Services Board has changed its name to Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency with effect from 26th April 2019. Our new mandate entails development of water infrastructure within our 7 counties. All contractual agreements we had before are not affected by this change. For more information, visit our website www.rvwwda.go.ke. Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency. Dependable water infrastructure.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, there was drama at the Buruburu police station earlier today after police arrested a blogger and an administrator of a Facebook page called Buyer Beware. Mildred Atieno said to have published a recording accusing Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko of abetting corruption at City Hall. The Buruburu OCPD, however, disputed claims that this was the reason for her arrest, saying she was being held for human trafficking offences. NTV's Sharon Baranga has the details.
Earlier today, there was a scene at Buruburu police station. A woman known to many as Mildred Atieno, an administrator of a Facebook group called Buyer Beware, had been arrested. The news of her arrest sent shock ripples through a number of social media platforms, with her followers demanding her release. Members of the group claim that Millie, as she's known to them, had been arrested for posting a dossier on corruption that implicated Nairobi County Governor Mike Sonko, a claim the Buruburu OCPD refutes. The OCPD says she's being held over human trafficking charges.
We realized that in the same facility where the lady was occupying, there were some documents, that is passports or traveling documents. Going further on that, we asked her a few questions, and she was not able to justify exactly why she had the documents and why this lady was there, because the victim was alleging that she has been coerced to travel abroad for employment, which they are in link with the international body. We are yet in pursuance of that, because we are yet to establish if actually the documents that are in place are genuine, or she has the legal license to run the business of the same nature.
Police say after she was arrested, she tried to escape, causing a scene inside the compound of the police station, and now she will be charged with causing disturbance. Her followers say Millie had been arrested from her home in Buruburu, but police say the woman in their custody was arrested in Umoja. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
And in other news making headlines around the world, at least 20 people were killed after a fuel truck went up in flames after losing control and crashing into 3 cars in western Uganda. More than 30 shops were burned. Authorities said 9 bodies had been retrieved from the crash site and transported to a nearby health centre for further post-mortem analysis and DNA profiling. Another body was found trapped under the truck. 9 more people injured in the accident later died from their wounds, and the tanker was on its way to the Democratic Republic of Congo from Kenya. In trial against Sudan's former president Omar al-Bashir has revealed that he received $90 million in cash from Saudi royals. Bashir, who was forced from power by months of protests in April after 30 years in power, was found with large amounts of cash at his residence after he was toppled. In May, Sudan's Prosecutor General also said Bashir had been charged over the killings that happened during the anti-regime protests, which eventually then led to his ouster. The former head of state appeared calm as he sat in a metal cage wearing a traditional white gown. And this comes after key power-sharing documents were signed on Saturday at a ceremony attended by a host of foreign dignitaries, including President Uhuru Kenyatta. All right, we're taking a break now on NTV Tonight. When we come back, Warden has the sports news.
Ni wale wanajitambua, yani wale wanajiamini. Yani someone took their sweet time and thought about us. Rembo TV, simply beautiful.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level. Led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
Oh, wewe ndio uliosha hii gari?
Yes, umeona venye iling'ara.
Kazi yako ni nini hapa kwa hii estate?
Security.
Exactly. Ustick kwa line yako.
I want chicken.
We're having rice today.
Let me call my dad and tell him to bring me chicken.
Aloy, zima hiyo kitu. Trying to put my child to sleep.
Sikuski.
Dad, you buy me a hoverboard.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Cal.
I know my real dad can buy for me one.
Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now. Knowledge and skills for better life.
It's time to play. Welcome to NTV Sport. I am Warden. We start with the Sports Journalists of Kenya Association, that's SJAC Football Awards. And the new player of the year is David Majak from Tusker. Golden Gloves is Farouk Shikalo of Bandari. Defender of the year is Josh Onyango of Gor Mahia. Midfielder of the year is Francis Kahata of Gor Mahia, and now he plays for Yanga. The Golden Boot winner is Enos Ochieng of Ulinzi. The coach of the year is Hassan Oktay. And the most valuable player of the year is Josh Onyango, who walks home with $1 million Kenya shillings.
Please come on stage. And if you notice, all 3 are category winners. We'll wait for you to be on stage before the win.
I can't hear any drums rolling. In this case, the MVP is all right. Thank you very much. The MVP for the night, the most valuable player, is Joshua Onyango.
The PS for Sports, their Ambassador Kerimi Kaberia enjoying his moment. Those pictures are from just a bit earlier on this evening at the National Museum of Kenya. And congratulations to Josh. And Olympic relay champion Robert Ouko has died aged 71 after a long illness. Ouko was part of the quartet who won the 4x400 meters relay gold at the 1972 Munich Olympic Games. Of the 4 sprinters, only 2, Charles Asati and Hezekiah Nyamau, are still alive, with Julius Sang having passed away 15 years ago. Now, on to something that we've been talking about here on NTV a lot, because we did a feature last year, the penalty, and now we're talking about after the penalty. Former Utali FC and Mathare United footballer Teddy Rogers served a 19-year jail term for robbery with violence at the Community Maximum Prison and only tasting freedom last week on Friday. Days after his release, Teddy has shared his experience and just given advice to Kenyan footballers, upcoming Kenyan footballers, on what they need to do to avoid taking a wrong turn like he did. And Teddy is totally enjoying the moment, and we'll be getting to that story shortly. And in the Africa Games, the 12th edition of the Africa Games has officially kicked off in a colorful ceremony in Rabat, Morocco. Over 6,000 athletes from all over the continent will compete for the next 10 days, with Kenya looking to better her performance from the 2015 Games that so have finished 7th with 32 medals, six among them gold. Ida Waringa filed this report ahead of the ceremony, which has seen the Moroccan government deploy 15,000 security officials in the capital.
Greetings from the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium here in the capital city of Morocco, Rabat. 53,000 seater capacity stadium, where the official opening ceremony is set for tonight. Now, just to give you a bit of context into exactly what will be happening here over the next 10 to 11 days, and as I've said, it's the Africa Games, previously known as the All Africa Games, the 12th edition, returning to Morocco. Morocco participating in this, making a comeback after missing the last 8 editions. So quite an important event here happening between the cities of Rabat, Marrakech and Casablanca. Well over 6,000 athletes will be taking part in 26 sports, ranging from a wide variety. Now, I will get to Team Kenya's participation in this in just a bit, but we're talking about the official opening ceremony. However, there was a separate opening ceremony, this one on Sunday, and it was specifically for media, with the unveiling of the AIPS official Young Reporters program here in Africa. The ceremony was graced by the Moroccan Minister of Sports, as well as the AIPS President Gianni Merlo and the AIPS Africa President Mitchell Obi. Now, bringing it back to Team Kenya, over 230 athletes, some of whom have already made their way to Morocco, will be taking part in 22 disciplines. Now, 17 of these 22 are doubling up to be Tokyo 2020 Olympic qualifiers. And huge news as well, especially in terms of the Kenya beach women's volleyball team, who did qualify for the semi-final that will be on Tuesday, tomorrow, where they will face off against Mozambique. So we will be sure to update you on that and more. And finally, just having a look at some of the headlines making the back pages here in Rabat, Morocco. Lots of focus as well, of course, on the Africa Games kicking off tonight. And for example, this particular newspaper, going by the name of Le Matin, choosing to focus on the judo Moroccan team, who have already been able to scoop some medals. And we will wait to see how Team Kenya will do. But of course, as you can see behind me is the press center located within the stadium, where we have been able to get our accreditation. So much to look forward to, especially that semi-final between Kenya and Mozambique tomorrow.
Now, Ida is one of 9 journalists from across the continent who are in Morocco as part of the IPS, and that's the International Federation of Journalists, and she's one of the young reporters who've been given a chance to cover the All Africa Games, and congratulations to her. And now, national champion in triple jump Gloria Moulay is aiming for gold in the 12th edition of the African Games. And during the national trials, which were held at the Kasarani Stadium, the 18-year-old set a new national record of 13.05 meters after breaking her own record of 12.97 meters.
Matarajio yangu ni kuwa nimegraduate kutoka junior to senior. Hii ni first time yangu kupresent Kenya as a senior. So nina matarajio ya kuleta medali. Na plani kuvunja rekodi yangu kwani bado sijaridhika na hiyo 13. Mimi na aim 14, 20.
Now let's listen in to Teddy Rogers, who's come out from prison after 19 years. And this is his advice to upcoming Kenyan footballers.
Uhuru ni kitu ya maana sana. Huwezi jua kama hujaipoteza, lakini ukiipoteza ndio utajua umuhimu wake. Nilipopata jeraha kuweka mpira kando kidogo, kuingilia mambo ya crime, hapo ndio mlango ya jela nayo ikafunguka. Kwa kweli niliweza kushikwa mwaka 2000 Julai tarehe 4. Nakwambia hadi Friday ilipita ndio tena narudi hapa. Hizo ni miaka 19 na masaibu nimeingilia. Maisha ni ngumu. Ile maisha ni ngumu, ile inataka uikubali na ukubali vile kumetokea. Kidogo mambo yakaanza kubadilika. Mudi akabadilisha maneno pale kidogo, ukaanza kuwa na freedom, tukaanza at least ndio tukaanzisha team. Hata nilianzisha team kitu 04 ndio nilianza kuanzisha team, nikaanzisha mpira pale. Watu wakaanza kucheza at least ile kutoa stress, kwa sababu kwa kweli ilikuwa ni tocha. Tumekuwa na wengi, tumekuwa na Swibe aliwachiliwa, tumekuwa na Croch, Eric Waero pia aliachiliwa. Na tumekuwa paka na Shem na pia alitoka. Shem Nyaberi. Kitu ile ningeomba hawa vijana ambapo ni wadogo sasa hivi wako na talanta. Ningeomba sana hawa vijana washikilie talanta. Vile nimesimama hapa nasema crime si poa, kwa sababu hata mimi nikishikwa ndio nilikuwa wakati hiyo, sasa nilikuwa chipukizi. Mpira sasa ndio iko moto kabisa. But nilipiga tu wrong turn moja ndio mimi huu mpaka wa leo. Ambapo mambo ya mpira sasa nimenawa. Sasa siwezi taka kijana mwingine naye apitie ile maisha nimepitia. Itakuwa mbaya sana kwa sababu ni mzito. Ningewaambia ile kidogo unapata unaridhika nayo kidogo, sitake pesa mingi. Hiyo kidogo hiyo inaweza kufikisha mahali. Ukitaka hii mingi pia na malipo yake. Na malipo yake ni machungu sana. Sasa nataka kujipanga sasa. Nina at least na vitu nimejifunza. Naona kama nitaanza sasa na pia nifunze wengine wale ambapo kidogo hawana mwelekeo, kuonyesha mwelekeo. Na pia kuwaonya pia. Mambo ya crime si mzuri. Crime si poa kabisa.
They say ili iwe funzo, and I do hope that someone watching that who's an upcoming footballer has learned from Teddy's experience and will avoid crime, because clearly crime si poa. That's the sport. Back to Smriti.
All right, thanks very much, Warden, for the sports news, and thanks for watching NTV Tonight. That's where we leave it. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. I'll be back again tomorrow night with Mark Masai, but don't switch off just yet. Mark is coming up in just a moment with Press Pass.